the live stream. We stream the whole thing, and then we'll have a write-up about this coming up.
All right, Emily, thanks very much. And we do want to sort of run down the update on the shelters. Emily just gave you some great information about New Hanover County shelters. We have some more details in the fact that Johnson Pre-K is now full, but there's still room at Trask Middle School, Eaton Elementary School,
shuts down.
Coddington Elementary, and Noble Middle School. You heard Emily report the fact that they now have a generator for Noble Middle School, so good news there. Trask Middle School is the shelter that will accept your pets. Also have an update if you've got questions about Hurricane Florence. New Hanover County has a hotline for you to call. All hurricane-related questions can be asked here. The number on your screen right now, it is 910-798-6800, 910-798-6800. Now, one of the shelters in Brunswick County also at capacity, so do not head to West Brunswick High School. It is full. If you are trying to find shelter, go to South Brunswick or North Brunswick High Schools. If you need help evacuating, the number to call is 910-253-5383. One of the shelters in Columbus County also at capacity, that is Edgewood Elementary School, no longer accepting evacuees, but you can still head to Guideway Elementary School or East, West, or South Columbus High Schools. All of the shelters, though, are out of cots, so you should bring your own bedding. And if you need help getting to a shelter or have other questions, in Columbus County, there's a couple of numbers you can call, 910-642-8193 or 910-642-7684 are the numbers to call if you have questions. Now in Bladen County, another shelter is opening this afternoon in just a couple of hours around 2. It will be at Elizabethtown Middle School. There are no cots available at that shelter, so bring your own bedding and other supplies you may need. BARTS will continue to transport people to the shelters if needed, but will stop running after winds reach 25 miles an hour, and you can call the number on your screen for their services. All right, Pleasure Island, one of the Barrier Islands under mandatory evacuation right now. The Snowscut Bridge closed last night. WECT's Colin Hackman joining us live right now. Colin, I know you've been making the rounds around both Carolina and Curie beaches this morning. Where are you now? And tell us what you've been able to see so far this morning.
Right now, we've seen the largest waves that we've seen thus far, Kim. It's been bananas, for lack of a better term. Take a look at this. These are 15-footers that are rolling on now, right up against the seawall. This is serious business. That wave is above our heads where we stand at several feet above sea level, and all of these are moving their way toward these houses that you see just to my right. It is an ominous-looking sight to consider the fact that we are 15 hours or more away from a potential landfalling hurricane here with this system. This is the Carolina Beach North Pier. You're probably familiar with this. A large chunk of it fell off during Hurricane Fran, and you can see right here wave heights touching the bottom boards of some of those pilings. We've been watching it all day. Now the tide is heading out. High tide at this location was at 11:42, so these waves aren't quite as big as what we have seen, but they're plenty big enough for saltwater intrusion. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If Lucas will follow me down here, this is Carolina Beach Avenue North, and already we are starting to see quite a bit of water in the streets. I'll show you where it's coming from. There's an issue here. They have a rock wall, obviously, to try to keep as much of the wave action out of Carolina Beach. But look at this. It's a river of water making its way out of the parking lot on appropriately named Saltmarsh Avenue, and all of this water, Kim, is going to have to make its way onto Canal, and then from there it gets into the Carolina Beach water system. So the water system isn't really designed to take on millions of gallons of water from the ocean, but nonetheless you can see that's exactly what's happening. Foam, waves, small sea animals, I mean, you name it, it's coming in here, and it's all coming from here. Lucas, if you could follow me, we'll take a look. You notice how these, look, the fish jumping. There's a fish jumping on the backside of the rocks. So the waves, which where I stand now, look at that wave. So that's at least 20 feet over my head where I stand right now, touching the top of the pier. It will indeed run into the rock wall, but when it does, instead of breaking apart and moving left and right, it's going right under. And here you'll see an example of that is that massive wave that we just saw move in there, starts to make its way up to the rocks. It hits the rocks, and then boom, we start to see water make its way underneath the rocks, and that's these gallons of water that you're watching move. First it's slow, and then it comes in pretty quickly, making its way into Carolina Beach Ave North and then into Canal. have had quite an exciting morning here, and right along with Carolina Beach Police. They have been out dealing with issues such as people on this pier. They've also been dealing with issues such as random strangers walking through boarded up houses, lots. And that is why there is a mandatory curfew that is in effect for all people in Carolina Beach from now, until further notice. Now, they don't want anybody out. They want us to be the eyes and ears. Look at this wave, another behemoth, and these have been crawling upwards 10 to 15 footers rolling in. The scary thing for me, Kim, I have seen waves this big, but I have not seen them packed this tight. The sets have not been packed this tight. This is something new, even for me.
And like you said, the storm isn't even, we're not even seeing the full impacts of the storm yet. Colin, I wanted to ask you, because you've been mentioning that rock wall. I don't remember if the wall was put in place for this specific reason, and even so, it looks like it's going to do, it's really just not going to help very much.
It's like throwing ice cubes at the sun. I mean, look how much water gets under here, and this is just the beginning. So, yes, it's going to help break waves from being able. So, look, it's one thing to have like water moving in slowly like this, real low. It's another thing entirely to have those massive waves that might move from there onto a building. So if you get wave action that hits a building, that's a totally different thing. So it does help with that. But eventually, when seas get high enough, we're talking about 6 to 9 foot storm surge, which would be about here, right? The wave action is going to be making it over the rock wall and into Carolina Beach. So all of these condominiums that you see, Island North, the pier, the High Tide Lounge, places that you might be familiar with, are under real danger. I mean, we've seen storms come before. This has a little bit of a different feel this far away, and to consider the duration, how long we're going to have to deal with this, not looking good for some of these buildings here along the north side of Carolina Beach.
Yeah. All right, Colin, let you get back to work. Be careful, and we will check in with you, I'm sure, throughout the day. Meanwhile, we will be right back.